All right, let's go to Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. He's the founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, author of A Battle for the Soul of Islam, an American Muslim patriot's fight to save his faith. Doc, what's shaking?
It's great to be with you, Dennis. Always a voice of reason who pays attention to the things that matter in the world versus sort of our bulimic media that just sort of deals with one issue and then goes on to the next one like it doesn't matter anymore.
What's this country called Syria about?
It's basically continuing to disintegrate. Our families are becoming more and more desperate. All Assad did was shift the shells around and went from chemical weapons to, as the USA Today is reporting today, using terror, using starvation as a means of terror, killing thousands a week. The head of the International Rescue Committee is quoted as saying that we're going back to the dark ages when civilians were targeted, when AIDS workers were targeted, journalists are targeted, and basically they're eating cats and dogs. There's a resurgence of polio, and they can't get aid in. And we're looking at heading towards 5 million refugees out of a total population of 22 million in Syria come the turn of the year.
Oh, your history's there. How do you stay in touch with somebody there? I don't quite understand. Is it unlimited? Can they call you? Or I don't even know that much about it. I know North Korea, you're in there and they make the decisions. What's it like with Syria? What do you hear from your friends and acquaintances and family on the ground?
Well, our family, my mom here is just glued to Skype. Occasionally, every other day gets cut off for a while, but they use basically the internet to communicate. Sometimes it gets cut off, but remember that because it's a civil war, the military also has lost command and control communication, so they have to keep the internet open. When they cut it off is when they commit major massacres beyond what they're doing now, but they have to keep communication open so that they can communicate. The Assad regime has lost control of possibly a majority of the ground in Syria, but not the major cities. And, we just sort of are riveted by the computers waiting to make sure that their homes are still intact. And, they're really just living hand to mouth. They don't know if they're going to have food for the next day and where they're going to get sustenance. And these are educated, successful people that are physicians and otherwise. It's not, it's just life in Syria has become very lonely.
When it was last on my radar screen, I'm sure it's in your family every day, but to a major degree, Russia and Putin had just stepped in to mediate. Honest to God, there's so much happening domestically, I haven't even paid attention. How's that working out for you?
It hasn't changed much. Russia is even still helping sort of via Iran, which is also distracting us with their lies on their nuclear wishes. But Russia now is actually diplomatically starting to sort of hint that they could see a post-Assad Syria, which I also think is a bunch of deception. Their relationship is going to be long-lived, and they'll stay with Assad as long as necessary. But the bottom line is they're still printing Syrian money. They're still providing the means for that regime to stay in power. And they're also reaching into Egypt. Yesterday, Arutz Hashiva in Israel printed a story that Russia is giving $4 billion worth of helicopters and jets to Egypt to allow them to have military parity with Israel. So you're seeing sort of Cold War 2.0 play out. And what they're doing is in Syria, they're just going to make sure, well, if Assad leaves, they'll have another dictator come back. And Sisi in Egypt is proving to be sort of Mubarak II. And the Middle East has been lost. There's been an opportunity that we've had with the Arab awakening. And because of Obama being missing in action and having zero policy there, it's allowing sort of the Darwin doctrine of the old powers in the Middle East and Russia and China to play a major role in allowing Iran. I mean, we just saw 2 days ago a bombing of the Iranian mission in Lebanon. So 2 suicide bombings happening, and you're seeing a degeneration of the entire region. Syria is not just about Syria. The entire region is now devolving into sectarian violence, and the only people that went out there are the old mafiosos of the Middle East, which is Russia and the dictators.
Do you think it's fair to say that the ne'er-do-wells in the region assume that Obama is, certainly at the moment involved elsewhere, or his interests lie elsewhere on a domestic front.
It really is. I mean, a weak president, as our friend Bill O'Reilly said last night, a weak president at home causes our foreign policy also to deteriorate. So, these poll numbers here are not only affecting, his dysfunction in healthcare policy is proving to become global dysfunction, where the world is really, literally translating what's happening into a post-American world where they really don't see America as playing any role. So therefore, those who want liberty and freedom are known to be left alone, because if America doesn't defend them, they become basically victims, and that's what's happening. The innocent in Syria, who are the majority, that don't side with Assad and don't side with Al-Qaeda, are getting caught in the crossfire and terrorized with starvation and bombing and being shut down. And in Egypt, the same thing. The Brotherhood stole the revolution, and now Assisi is taking back control of the old dictator's ways, and it's becoming a cult of the Assisi personality. And meanwhile, the majority of Egyptians, including minorities like the Copts and others, are completely being decimated.
We're talking to Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. And I know that AIF Democracy.org has a couple of videos that your organization has posted. Can you speak to those?
Yeah, one is, I think, really the crux of the issue is I put out a video about the lost generation, and now the revolution is going into its third year. Syria is losing a generation of youth to lost identity, lost purpose, and that's going to radicalize a population that, if you look now, the greatest source of jihadists around the planet is Syria. So maybe Assad claims to be anti-jihadist, but his country now has become the source of jihadists, and I talk about that. The other video is sort of about, why is Al-Qaeda growing? What should be our policy? And Al-Qaeda is growing because of Assad. He's used them as a foil, and meanwhile we've lost any semblance of solutions. And the solution in Syria is basically a clinic of what can happen in the rest of the Middle East, is that hopefully the rest of America, while Obama sleeps, can wake up to the fact that we need a forward foreign policy, or else we're going to lose an entire region, and Israel is going to be at greater risk than it's ever been before.
The postings Dr. Jasser speaks about at AIFdemocracy.org, and you can follow Zuhdi on Twitter at Zuhdi, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, and that's Zuhdi. Thank you for your time, Dr. Jasser. Have a happy holiday season. I don't know what you cats are, what's the deal over there on in the Muslim world? What do you guys do? Do you have Christmas?
Oh, no, not Christmas. Our holiday was a little earlier this year. And the Hajj people, a lot of Muslims just returned from their pilgrimage and, just praying for peace and the promotion of liberty and freedom, and wishing our Christian brothers and sisters a Merry Christmas, and our Jewish brothers and sisters a Happy Hanukkah, and, hoping that we can work together for the advancement of freedom. And God bless people like you for paying attention to these issues, Dennis. All
right, Dr. Jasser, you're a good man. I admire your fight. I don't understand all the intricacies of it. I would be disingenuous if I told you I did, but I certainly, I'm betting whatever you're pushing, because you make sense to me and you seem to have a good heart, my friend.
Well, anytime you want to talk about it, I'm here.
All right. Let's stop for a second here and start back up. We're joined by Doc. Have a good one, Doc.
Thanks, Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Yep.